My name is Mike van Graan. I serve as the Secretary General of Arterial Network, based at the African Arts Institute in Cape Town. Arterial Network is an Africa-wide network of artists, creative enterprises, festivals, arts education institutions, all of us committed to developing the arts, the creative sector. That includes all of the arts, so that's music, design, film, theatre, dance, literature, visual arts, developing these in their own right, but also as contributors to democracy, to human rights and development in Africa. Having identified the major needs within the African creative sector, we then determined what the primary aims of the organization should be. So these include networking, building networks across the continent, to lobby on behalf of artists, to research and find information, and then to distribute this information through newsletters and websites and the like, to inform people about what is happening on the continent, to encourage debate around cultural policy, and to create generic cultural policy frameworks that we can apply in different countries, to build regional and international markets for African creative goods and services, to build capacity and leadership within the sector so that the sustainability of the sector is not only dependent upon funding but also on informed leadership, to finally defend the rights and status of artists within their countries, given that artists are often at the bottom rung of the social ladder within their countries.
Before Arterial, we are just a small activist in our own country. But right now, when we'll be part of this great African network, it's a kind of big family.
When I started being the project manager, we had, I think, 60 or 100 people in the database, and now we've got more than 7,000 people in the database. So it really shows the increase of, the people knowing about the Arterial network, and obviously as a result, people, having an impact, and the Arterial network having an impact on people's lives.
On a monthly basis, we publish a newsletter in English and French that goes to a database across the continent, but also internationally. We have a website, artsinafrica.com, that has information about the arts in just about every country. And we've just published a directory on arts and culture, so that information that's available on the website, some of it has now been captured in this directory so that people will have it much more easily accessible in that way.
Once a year, we organize 10 days training. We invite people from all over the continent, so each time we've invited 20 people from about 17 countries in Africa. People who attended the training started their own project based on what they had learned at the winter school.
To also help to build capacity, we produce toolkits on fundraising, on arts advocacy and networking, and on arts marketing as well.
I participated in the winter school, basically when we train people for the lobbying and fundraising of the arts, and within 6 months I was able back to my country to raise a maximum of 3 million euros for the art sector.
We've also launched a series of networks that will work alongside Arterial Network. So for example, there's an arts journalist network that is in the process of being established. We are launching a network of festivals and major events across the continent. We're launching a creative cities network so that cities that support the arts can get together and talk about how they facilitate the movement of artists from one city to the next. A lot of what we've done in the past is provide institutional support for the creative sector, but we also wanted to have competitions that really generate new work and that encourage excellence within the African creative sector. So we have a series of competitions, one per discipline, that we are in the process of launching. The first one we did was a playwriting competition, and the winners of those are going to be going on dramaturgical workshops in London. We have a cell phone movie competition, and then we're going to be having in 2011 as well a competition to invite people to write the best poems about a particular theme.
I've seen mutually beneficial relationships emerging from a member's point of view, a funder's point of view, and a secretariat point of view. What's quite unusual is that the founding of Arterial in 2007, those same funders are still with us to this day, 2011. So there's a shared understanding and a shared vision for the network, and I think the transparency of the organization is something quite unique.
Arterial Network is essentially an artist-driven organization. It's a democratic organization, so it's also about people taking ownership of their own lives. And so they elect the steering committees, they elect the leadership at a national and at a continental level, and they hold them accountable. So in a way it's like practicing through Arterial Network for what we want people to have within their societies.
I think the most important thing for me in this network, it's a network by, for the people active in the creative sector. It's not coming from abroad, it's the people who know the best the sector, who was working for its development.